Hello aspirants, today we are going to learn history and in history specifically modern history. अगर मैं इस शब्द को देखूं हिस्ट्री तो हिंदी में इतिहास, इस वर्ड को आप हाइड कर दीजिए. जो वर्ड हमें दिखता है दैट इज कॉल्ड स्टोरी एंड इफ यू hide story you find a word called hi. Now let's break it. Can't I write like this, hi plus story? It means all those past stories which have political, social, cultural and economic importance which is worth knowing. Our current and future generation should know about it. All the stories have been made into one single book or chapters that is called a subject history. मतलब वो सारी राजनीतिक, आर्थिक, सामाजिक, ऐतिहासिक चीजें जो हमारे आज की जनरेशन या फ्यूचर जनरेशन को पता होना चाहिए, वो सारी बातों का विषय को ही इतिहास कहते हैं. हिस्ट्री को हम और भी अलग अलग तरीकों से बांट सकते हैं. वी कैन डिवाइड हिस्ट्री इन the phase of prehistory, proto-history and just history. In human civilization, इंसानों ने बोलना पहले सीखा, लिखना बाद में. It means we started to talk first and write later. All those sections of history where the individual were not able to write, and whatever knowledge we have today of history is just based on observations, archaeological excavations or logical determination. So all that is a part of prehistory where we do not have a written text. The people of prehistory don't know how to write. Proto-history is the advent of writing when people started to write. But it is our bottleneck that we were not able to decipher that knowledge or we are not able to decode that script. For example, Indus Valley civilization has Bostrom script, but we are not able to decipher, and Stone Age people never used to write any script, so they don't have a script. History is those time in which people used to write, and today modern people are able to decipher and can read and take knowledge directly from the document and text of history. So on the basis of no text, text but cannot be deciphered, text that can be read and understood are the ways we can diversify history. We can also diversify history in the format of, we can say, ancient history, medieval history and modern history. It means the evolution of Homo sapiens, the settled life like Indus Valley civilization, the Vedic age, the later Vedic age, the evolution of a hunter and gatherer into a domesticated of animals, agriculturalist, all that sections are dealt in ancient history. When I talk about medieval history of India, right from Delhi Sultanate to the power, conquest, fight and wars till the time of Mughals is medieval India. And with the advent of Europeans, because there was industrial revolution going on in Britain and Portugal and France and all, and people from there wanted cheap raw material, labor and market. When they started to come to India, we find there is a great mix of Eastern and Western culture. But the people who once came to trade with us started ruling us, and how did our Indian freedom fighters fought to get back their freedom is what we have in modern India or modern history. So let's now start to learn. Then the topic for today will be modern history. We will start off with modern history right with the Battle of Plassey, that is 1757, the Battle of Plassey. बैटल ऑफ प्लासी की लड़ाई हुई रॉबर्ट क्लाइव और नवाब ऑफ बंगाल सिराजुद्दौला. Let's try to find out the background. During that time, Nawab of Bengal used to issue dastak to Britishers. Dastak means license to do trade. Now Britishers started smuggling or misusing dastak. To this, Nawab of Bengal took action captured the ship and the ports and the factories of Britishers, and at the same time there was an incident that happened which is known to be called as black hole. In the entire hall there was one hole made to light to pass, and all the Britishers captured by Nawab was made to stay or stuffed in that, and a lot of people died. Now during that time, in another part of the country, say Tamil Nadu, there was a place called Madras where a British official called Robert Clive was there. He took charge and he came to fight the Battle of Plassey. Well, it was predetermined because the Wazir-e-Azam of Nawab of Bengal, Mr. Mir Zafar, was given an offer that if he would support the Britishers, he will be made the new Nawab of Bengal. We understand that Nawab of Bengal had the support of French. Still, their own people of Nawab did not fought for him, and this Battle of Plassey was lost, and Mir Zafar was made the new Nawab, that is the puppet Nawab of Britishers. Now Battle of Plassey meant that just a section of India went into the British hand. But what was important was the next war. In 1764, there was a battle of Buxar, and it was fought by the combined army of Nawab of Bengal, Nawab of Awadh, and Mughal Emperor himself, Shah Alam II. All three of them got together to fight British officer Hector Munro. Now there can be a question in mind that how Nawab of Bengal went against the Britishers when he helped them in Battle of Plassey. Remember, during Battle of Plassey, Mir Zafar was the Nawab. Now his son-in-law, that is Nawab of Bengal, is his son-in-law Mir Qasim, who is totally against the economic exploitation of Britishers. Now this war was won again by the Britishers, and the tri-party lost. Since the Mughal emperor himself was defeated, they got the divine rights of Bengal, Bihar, Odisha and Midnapur. But we see that they also defeated Awadh Nawab, but they did not take Awadh because during that time Awadh was continuously attacked by Afghans, so the maintenance cost of Awadh was more and the revenue collected was less. But this is a very progressive war for Britishers because they have one Mughal emperor who was the ruler of Pan India, and tomorrow Britishers also can become the ruler of Pan India. If we see in the span of say 100 or century year, India realized the economic, political, social and cultural exploitation, and this was manifested in the 1857 what Veer Savarkar called as the first war of independence. The first war of independence was fought, but the people who participated here, to name them, were sepoys, Indian soldiers in British, then it was peasants, kisan or zamindar, then रॉयल फैमिलीज जो रजवाड़े थे, एंड देन सोसाइटी, समाज के कुछ और लोगों ने भी भाग लिया. बट हियर आई हैव नॉट मेंशन्ड that educated middle class family participated or youngsters participated. मध्य वर्गीय शिक्षित नवयुवक या नवयुवतियों ने इसमें पार्टिसिपेट नहीं किया. क्यों? 1835 में इंग्लिश एजुकेशन इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया स्कूल्स एंड कॉलेजेस में. द इंग्लिश विच गॉट एजुकेटेड और विच गॉट इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन स्कूल एंड कॉलेजेस प्रोफेस्ड that the British history, British culture is progressive and Indian culture or history is regressive. So the people who got this idea from childhood was more in favor of Britishers and they had no idea what was going on in their country. If you look into the sepoys categories, the people from Kshatriyas and Brahmins were the part of sepoys. We'll take this further, but let's concentrate here. If you look at peasant zamindar, why did they participate? They participated because there was different lagan system, royalty system, mahalwadi system or permanent settlement. Whether or not you have your food or production done, आपका उत्पादन हुआ या नहीं, आपको लगान देना होगा. If you are not able to pay लगान, you lose the ownership of your land. आपकी जमीन का मालिकाना चला जाता है. It means peasants वो अपने ही जमीन पे बधुआ मजदूर यानी they became bonded laborers and zamindar lost their zamindari. Royal families participated because during that time the viceroy, that is Lord Dalhousie, came out with a law, and that law was called Doctrine of Lapse. इस लॉ के तहत अगर किसी भी राजा का अपना बेटा, own blood, if any king does not have his own royal son, royal blood, then the kingdom will be handed over to Britishers. तो हम जानते हैं रानी लक्ष्मीबाई, नाना साहब के घर में अपने बच्चे ना होने के कारण उनका राज्य भी अब ब्रिटिशर्स के पास जाने वाला था. If we talk about society, society had a different mindset to participate. If you look, 1829 में हमारे लिए एक कानून बना जिसका नाम था abolition of सती. सती सिस्टम को हटा दिया गया. हमारे तरफ से इसको लाने वाले राजा राम मोहन रॉय और उस तरफ से लॉर्ड विलियम बेंटिक. 1856 में हमारे देश में फिर एक कानून बना, दैट इज कॉल्ड विडो रिमैरेज एक्ट, विधवाओं का पूर्ण विवाह. Society started to think that they are having a cultural crisis and they might lose their culture because Western philosophy is entered their culture. So these people participated. The final spark came from sepoys. It was written in sepoys cantonment area that dogs and Indians are not allowed. The salary were also differentiated even if the Britishers and Indians are on the same profile, and the maximum promotion which Indians can get was of Subedar. And the most degraded and fearful law which was there for sepoy was that if company required Indian people or Indian sepoy, they had to cross the ocean and go to the other part of the world, whereas in the Hindu belief was that if you cross the ocean, you might lose your religion. Now the last nail which was put here, that is 1853 Enfield rifle. Now whether it was a miracle or whether it was good for India, blessing in disguise, that bullet was made by the fat of pigs and cow. Now cow is holy in Hindus and pig is called haram in Islam. So Hindu and Muslim sepoys united to fight against, and the first person who took the initiative to build the cat was Mangal Pandey. This particular sepoy movement spread like forest fire, or on 10th May 1857, a place called Meerut, Bakht Khan took charge. He freed all the prisoners and he took charge of ammunition, killed British soldiers, and on 11th May 1857, he reached Red Fort, Delhi, and declared Bahadur Shah Zafar to be the Shah-e Hindustan. He did that because all the people still connected to Mughal emperors, because they still had a faith that Mughals are the real rulers of India, to have that common face. But we all know that this movement did not had a good coordination. Each section were fighting for their own benefits or their own vision. इसमें कोई कॉमन लीडर नहीं था, कोई कॉमन गोल नहीं था. सारे सेक्शन के लोग अपने ही किसी कारणवश लड़ रहे थे. And now the queen brutally suppressed the war and brutally suppressed the battle, and we lost this particular war. But it triggered, and the person that is called Hugh Rose, he mentioned that there was only one male fighting, and that is Rani Lakshmibai, and she died while fighting in the Battle of Gwalior. Well, after this war, British learnt a lesson and they created some changes. First, do not interfere in the religion, custom and tradition of India. Second, 10 times the British officials were increased in Indian soil, and now Britain made it compulsory that Indians should not touch artillery beforehand, before permission. And at the same time, she introduced 3 universities in Bengal, Bombay and Madras, so that the youngsters can be trained into the British mindset and they will not participate in this kind of activities. Well, after doing all the changes, that is Government of India Act of 1858, what she called Queen as a good governance, everything went fine, but the Britishers wanted to gauge, they wanted to have a thermometer that we should always measure the exploited mind of India or the frustrated mind of India, so that the revolt of 1857 could not be repealed or could not be, brought again. So what happened that in 1885, they created a party, you can say, or organization that is called Indian National Congress by a retired civil servant, and his name was A.O. Hume. Now this was called as a mouthpiece. Here there were certain elite people who became the member of the Indian National Congress. They used to meet once in a year, and it was called the mouthpiece of India because they can put forward the depression, the exploitation or the frustration in the Indian people and communicate to the Britishers for them to analyze. So some people even claimed it to be that this Congress was nothing but a safety valve theory for the Britishers. Later, we find that the Congress who was into the British will come forward to act against British in the future, in the history. In 16th October 1905, during that time, Lord Curzon went for what we call as partition of Bengal. Now 16th October 1905, partition of Bengal was made, and the idea was that Bengal is a very huge area to have administrative efficiency. So we have to bifurcate it. Second, the left and the right, this part was dominated by Muslim, what we call as East Bengal, and here it was Hindus, which was West Bengal. So they told that this part was not developed and hence we need to develop this part, whereas we clearly see that in this area also Muslims became in minority. So it was also a regional politics, and the more set aside target was divide and rule, because this was they were giving a divide between Hindu and Muslim. But to our great surprise, we find that in 1911, under Lord Hardinge, the partition of Bengal was cancelled. Now, it is very surprising that why in 1905 they went for the partition and in 1911 they cancelled. It means the Britishers had achieved what they wanted in the span of 6 years. Well, according to our Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore, this was also celebrated at the Raksha Bandhan Day. The people of West Bengal and East Bengal tied Rakhi to each other. But the repercussions happened, and in 1906, Muslim League was formed under the leadership of Aga Khan. Before this, any problem of an Indian was an Indian problem. Now after the formation of Muslim League, the Britishers divided, it's the problem of Muslim and this is the problem of Hindu. Remember, Muhammad Ali Jinnah first joined Congress, and in a speech he told to a boy, "My dear boy, you are an Indian first and Muslim later." Later we find that in 1913, Muhammad Ali Jinnah joined Muslim League. In 1915, he became the president, and on 14th August 1947, we will have the advent of Pakistan. In 1907, we find Surat split, and the Congress themselves, on ideological differences or methodology, they got bifurcated in what we called moderates and extremist. Now in moderates they had an idea of prayer and petition, where extremists we had the ruler of Lal Balpal who said that Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. In 1909 further we had Morley-Minto reforms, and Minto was called the father of communal electorate of India because they introduced separate electorate for Muslims. This means that a Muslim can only vote a Muslim candidate. In democracy, we are not bothered about the religion, caste or gender of an individual. We are only bothered about his competency to deliver. But this was an idea where the Muslim could vote only for Muslim. What you find here is that first you had a geographical division, a regional politics, then you had a political division, and then you had an ideological division, and then you were divided on the basis of a religion. Hence today we have three countries, that is Pakistan, Bangladesh and India, and when they had already achieved and bifurcated our mind and thought, there was no need to have any geographical division, and hence it was cancelled. Going ahead after the partition, the world will go for a war, and that what we called is the First World War, and that is from 1914 to 1919. Now the Congress moderates was made a promise, or they were given a trust from the Britishers, that if Indian forces in British go abroad to fight for British in the war, they will be given dominion status. It means Indians will be ruling but under the control, structure and the regulation of Britain. Well, it was accepted by the moderates, and Indian forces were used by the Britishers to fight the First World War. In meantime, on 9th Jan 1915, the author of Indian independence, the co-creator of our freedom struggle, the new visionary Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi landed on Indian soil on 9th Jan 1915, which is celebrated as Pravasi Divas in our country. Now nobody knew who is Mahatma Gandhi, his potential. It was Gopal Krishna Gokhale who had the vision and who had the understanding of the potential and the competence of Mahatma Gandhi. And the conscience keeper of Mahatma Gandhi was C. Rajagopalachari. When Mahatma Gandhi came to India, he opened his ashram in Sabarmati and went all over India. If you see very closely, Mahatma Gandhi was initially against the economic exploitation of the Britishers. If you see his movement of Satyagraha, he first started Champaran, then Ahmedabad and in Kheda. In Champaran, it was on indigo, that was Teen Kathia system. In Ahmedabad, it was a bonus system, and Kheda still was economic. After the First World War, when the World War stopped, it was the Britishers' promise which need to be catered to us, that we should be given dominion status. Well, during the First World War itself, there was a Khalifa in Turkey, that is shadow of God, created and believed by all the Muslims. So the British has thrown away the Khalifa from Turkey, and the British were demanded by the Muslim to reinstate, and that is why there was a movement started, and that was called Khilafat movement. During that time only, in 1916, a Lucknow Pact was made, and according to this Lucknow Pact, the Muslim League and Congress joined hand together. The kingpin behind bringing Muslim League and Congress together was Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Hence Sarojini Naidu gave him a title as the brand ambassador of Hindu-Muslim unity. With the great effort of Annie Besant, the Congress within themselves organized and got together with the moderates and extremists getting together. So whatever has been, the divide and rule has split in the 90s, that has again come back through the Lucknow Pact. Okay. So there was a pact done, but instead come back here, instead of giving dominion status, what the Britishers gave us was Rowlatt Act of 1919. On the basis of this particular act, if they had suspicion on you, अगर आपके ऊपर शक हो गया, they can catch any Indians for 2 years. Now we all know that Amritsar, Jallianwala Bagh, there were a few local leaders arrested according to Rowlatt Act 1919, Saifuddin and Khichlu. And people in Jallianwala Bagh were doing an unarmed meeting to free their local leaders, to fight for their local leaders. And there were mother, sister and all people gathered there. We found Judge General Dyer, who saw that there is a single exit, and he blocked that single exit and opened fire. According to Hunter Commission, some 300 people died, but if you go to the Malviya Committee and find out, more than 1,000 people had died. Seeing this massacre, the youngsters like Bhagat Singh, Rajguru, Sukhdev and all were building their aspiration to fight for this particular wrongdoing. In fact, Mahatma Gandhi also felt very bad, and Rabindranath Tagore returned his knighthood given by the Queen because of this human rights violation and killing of people. Well, to overcome this, Indian people and specifically Mahatma Gandhi in 1920 started non-cooperation movement. Here महात्मा गांधी mentioned that अत्याचार करने वाले से अत्याचार सहने वाला बड़ा होता है. If you do not cooperate in their exploitation, they cannot exploit you. The Indian people responded. They never attended now the British schools. They left their British jobs and started going for a Swadeshi dress, a Swadeshi job and all that. This movement was getting extreme pressure on the Britishers, but on 5th Feb 1920, an episode happened, and that is called Chauri Chaura incidents, in which 22 policemen were burnt alive by the Indians, and Mahatma Gandhi all of a sudden went to shut off this movement because he mentioned that violence can lead you nowhere and India still is not mature to get its independence. Well, this movement was shut down, but still the youngsters, Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Chandrasekhar Singh, Hindu Socialist Republic Association, a new section of movement got introduced and started to happen. To give you a background, in 1919, British had brought a reform which was called Montagu-Chelmsford Reform. And whether this law was working effectively for India or not, in 1927, Simon Commission was sent to India. But what was not democratic here, what was not good here, was there was not a single Indian here present to analyze a law made for Indians. Still, in Britain Parliament, they had one Indian guy, but still he was not installed in Simon Commission. Wherever Simon went, हम लोगों ने कहा, Simon वापस जाओ, Simon go back. In fact, we all know that Lala Lajpat Rai lost his life in condemning Simon Commission. Well, then in 1929, there was a Lahore session, and all the youngsters across now was furious enough to fight against the Britishers directly. Hence, Pandit Nehru also declared and brought the concept of Poon Swaraj, and on 26th January 1930, on the banks of river Ravi, he hoisted the flag, considering and declaring it to be Poon Swaraj. In the meantime, Gandhiji will again come back and he will start in 1930 what we call as civil disobedience movement, which we also call as Namak Satyagraha or Dandi March, which started from 12th March and ended on 6th April 1930. Now, in Dandi March, it was to go from Sabarmati and to a coastal village, Dandi, pick up the salt and get arrested. This was done, Gandhiji got arrested, but this had a great impact. Now from next day itself, any child, any Indian picked up the salt because the fear factor from the Britishers has gone, and everybody has the energy and confidence to challenge any Britishers. During 1930s, after the CDM movement, there were 3 round table conferences organized so that they can talk terms and decide terms with Indians. The people or the personalities who attended all 3 round table conference was Tej Bahadur Sapru and Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. The second round table conference along with Sarojini Naidu and all was attended by Mahatma Gandhi. Winston Churchill mentioned this Desdrohi Fakir and how he is going to talk to the Queen. Gandhiji very, in a dynamic manner told that free India in the hands of God, but we want free India. And he came back after the second round table conference and restarted this particular CDM movement. Meanwhile, the Second World War started, and this time also British promised that Indian will get dominant status if they allow the Indian forces to be used by Britishers in the Second World War. But this time we were now aware of the situation, the promise that they had done and not fulfilled. So instead of helping, in 1942 we start Quit India movement, that is Angrejo Bharat Chodo. And Gandhiji gave a command, Karo ya maro, do or die. The father of non-violence, the father of our nation, now gave the command to each individual of India that do or die. All the Congress leaders was arrested within a night, but each individual started their movement in the format of leaderless movement. British got the idea, with Gandhi or without Gandhi, you kill Indians, but the ideology to get freedom is not going to end, because now each and every individual in India wanted its independence. In the Second World War, Britain has lost a lot of its men, that is army. Now to rule India is very difficult because now Indians themselves are not cooperating with Britain. In the Second World War, at the end of the Second World War, there was extreme pressure on the Britain by Americans that you have to give independence to India so that they can install themselves into a democratic country. And Germany and Japan was highly aggressive, so there was also chances that we can go nearer to Germany or Japan. When all this accumulated, and on 15th of August 1947, India earned its independence. Well, we all know that India got bifurcated, divided, and there was a Radcliffe Commission made and divided India into 3 parts, we can say, that is West Pakistan, East Pakistan and India, and now the Pakistan and India have a common line or boundary or border, and that is called Radcliffe Commission. Thank you so much for your concentration.